is December 21st, 1987. This is Joe Todd, an interview with Mr. and Mrs. Joe Harding in Midwest City. And your address is 1020 Arthur Drive.
Right.
Mr. Harding, where were you born?
I was born in Checotah, Oklahoma.
And when's your birthday?
Oh, September the 27th, 1912.
1912. Who is your father?
Jesse Eugene Harding.
And your mother?
Was Harriet Alberta, but her name was Burchett before she married. B-U-R-C-H-E-T-T.
And where were your parents from?
Well, she was from Missouri and he was from Nebraska.
Okay. Ma'am, where were you born?
Boswell, Oklahoma.
And when's your birthday?
August 27, 1912.
1912. And who is your father?
Frank M. Owen.
O-W-E-N?
Yeah.
And your mother?
Amanda E. Armstrong.
Armstrong. And were your parents from Oklahoma?
From Alabama and Arkansas.
Okay, your father from Arkansas?
Yeah. And my mother was born in Alabama.
Did your parents ever say why they came to Oklahoma? Why they moved here?
No, not other than they came back when they opened the statehood, you know, and they just came because it was looked like a good deal. See, I don't remember exactly when that was, but that was what they did. They said, well, they just come back because they lived where they lived was there was really nothing to do, so they came down and I got a brother who died about a month ago, and he was born in Indian Territory before it became a state.
And what kind of work did your father do?
He was well, he ended up as a salesman for a Badger Meter Company, and he covered all the southern states, about 6 or 8 of them, and but then before that he was he was in Checotah. He was the mayor and the chief of police and the city council and the whole works. He ran the water department and everything else. But
did you know the Checotah family?
no,
Yeah. Okay.
no, I didn't know them.
Man, what kind of work did your father do?
Grocery man.
Mm-hmm. And in Boswell?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. When did y'all get married?
February the 5th
Yeah.
in 1933. Is that right? Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
And where did y'all meet?
Well, we met in Boswell. It was on April Fool Day in about 1930, 29 to 30. And
29.
29, and we just, a couple of us, we truck driving, and we picked her and another gal up, and they were going out to a senior April Fool's Day thing out the edge of town, and we picked them up, and then we went through the town all the time anyway, about twice a week. So we just got to knowing each other. I don't know, just one of those
Who are you
things.
driving for?
For Boswell Haynes in Durant, Oklahoma.
What kind of company was it?
It's a wholesale grocer.
A wholesale grocer? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, Carl Boswell was, he was quite a figure in politics in Oklahoma.
Did you know him?
Yeah. Oh,
What
yeah.
kind of man is he?
Oh, he was a character. He just did everything. Being a politician, well, he was quite an arranger of things. No, he was all right. He was a pretty good guy. I didn't know him, personally, but I knew him casually because I worked for him and so forth. there's nothing unusual about it.
How did the Depression affect your families and your business?
Well, we had a newspaper down in Seminole, and we made it. It was a little rough, but we made it. We sold enough ads to make it go.
What was the name of the paper?
This is Seminole News.
This is like.
I think you have some.
I think we do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you got them in the files out there.
Is the paper still going?
No, the town is gone for all practical purposes. I was down there 2 years ago, and there was there was about 4, 5 stores left in town, and the rest of it just all decayed and falling apart and so forth.
Did you do any work for the WPA or CCC?
Yeah, sure did. I was the Seminole County supervisor for the National Youth Administration for, what, I don't know, 2 or 3 years. Well, I don't know exactly how long.
What were your duties as county supervisor?
I had all these kids whose parents were on WPA, and they were. I just supervised them, and we had projects out around the county. We worked in the schools. We built fences, and we built parks and stuff like that.
So you were just more or less taking care of the kids whose parents were in the WPA?
Right.
Oh.
Right. Yeah, and I supervised them, and then we had, in each group we had someone who was he was sort of the chief of the bunch, and we had them working in libraries and just everything like that.
How many kids did you have in the
How many do we have?
Yeah.
50? Was it? Or was it more than that?
200
200 was that?
Yeah.
I guess it was.
over the county.
Over the county. I guess over the whole county it was spread out.
So you were head of the whole county?
Right.
NYA.
Yeah. I was the county supervisor of the NYA.
That's been a long time ago.
Yeah. Ma'am, what did you do with? Did you work with the NYA program also?
No.
No?
She put the paper out while I did it. You know, I'd work on the paper, and then I'd go down, I'd go out and work that, and then I'd come back and work on the paper some more, and it was just a matter of doing things like that. So.
How long did you have to take there as a soccer?
3 or 4 years, 4 or 5 years. I don't know.
3 years.
3 years. 3 years, and then World War II came along, and I decided that I wanted to try that. So.
When did you join the Navy?
I didn't know, it was the Air Force.
Air Force.
Air
That's
Force,
right,
yeah.
that's
That's
right.
right. I'm
I'm
Air
sorry,
Force
I'm sorry.
type.
So Army Air Corps.
Yeah.
When did you enlist?
In June of 38, I think it was.
Were you for him enlisting in the Air Corps?
Yeah.
Yeah, we sort of adjusted the records in order to make it legal. See, they wouldn't take a married man, and you had to go in, and then you had to get permission to get married and all that. So I'd been in about I don't know, 4 or 5 months before we finally got married. Technically.
How'd you adjust the records?
I just lied.
So where'd you take your basic training?
In Fort McDowell, which is on Angel Island, out in the bay, out in the harbor in San Francisco. And it's just a wildlife preserve now, I understand. But it's Angel Island, where it was.
Describe basic.
Describe basic?
Yeah. Basic was what?
Oh, basic was learning how to march and so forth. And we were there for about 3 months. It just so happened that there's no boats going to Hawaii. I had enlisted to go to Hawaii, and we were there for about at least 3 months. And I got the job of latrine orderly, the chief latrine orderly, and they had 4 barracks there. And my job was to check through the trains and see that they were all clean and everything. And so I got out of all that marching and hunt 2, 3, and so forth, because I was too busy on my job to do that.
Now, how did you all handle, being separated during this period?
Oh, we just handled it.
Y'all get together during that time?
No, no, we just said, well, no, we'll make it.
How long did basic last?
Till November.
November, yeah, well, November, yeah.
November 38. What, were you aware of the Japanese invasion of Manchuria in this
Oh,
time?
yeah, I was, but I wasn't concerned with it. Really. I knew that they were in there and that they were
Do you
expanding.
think there'd be a war in Europe?
Oh, yes, yeah, I thought there'd be a war in Europe. I guess that's the reason I went to Hawaii, because I figured that'd be as far away from it as I could get.
So, you go straight to Hawaii from basic?
Yes, yeah, I went to Hawaii and went to Wheeler Field.
Now, did you go with him to Hawaii?
No, I had to get permission to the mayor and all that kind of stuff.
Now, were you still in Texaco?
No, I was in Oklahoma City with my mother.
So, you went to Hawaii, I guess, by boat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Tell me about the boat trip.
that was great. The coming back wasn't so great.
No, she went over on Lurleen,
Yeah.
or Lurleen, came out there, on the Lurleen, and then she came back on the Lurleen. What?
No.
What was it? Something? Oh, yeah, some.
Matsonia.
Yeah, Matsonia. It's all the same line.
Yeah.
On Christmas Day, after the Japanese came in and tore the place up.
Now, why ship did you go over on?
Oh, Lord. Started with an L, but I don't remember the name of it.
How many men were on the ship?
There were probably about 200 to 300. And most of those were going in the Army, because Schofield Barracks, which is also out there. And most of them were Army. Well, I was Army too,
Yeah,
as far as
Army
that's
Air
concerned,
Corps,
but I was Army Air Corps, and that was all the difference in the world. To me, it was, at least, yeah.
Now, this was a civilian ship, wasn't it?
No, it was the two. I think they had two. They had two transports that made that particular round.
Well, we weren't in war yet at that time.
No, no. But those were. I don't remember what the name of the thing was. I'll think of it later on.
Did you get seasick?
No, I didn't. I'd say that 75% of them did get seasick, because it was a small one,
Ma'am, did you get seasick?
No.
No. So, what did you all think of Hawaii when you first saw it?
I loved it. It was beautiful.
It was nice, real nice.
What was the attitude of the islanders toward the mainlanders?
Well, see, there weren't many mainlanders out there. All the mainlanders out there were in the military.
Yeah.
To some, except for a few, and so they accepted them because it was just a part of life. I didn't find any.
No.
In fact, before she came out there, I joined the college club or whatever it was, and we were accepted in the finest homes in Hawaii, and we'd go out and everything. So it was.
So, what's the college club?
Was it the college club? Was that the name of it? College club?
Yeah.
That was men in the military who had gone to college or graduated or whatever, and this was just a way to get in, just to get into the population.
So
You were accepted anywhere.
And then, of course, when she came out there, well, I dropped out. Well, it just, wasn't practical then. So.
Yeah. Where'd you go to college?
Where'd I go to college?
Yeah.
OBU. At
OBU.
Shawnee.
What year?
32, 30.
One.
31. Something I don't.
What'd you study there?
What did I do there? Well, I worked about 10 hours a day and went to class about 2 hours a day. No, it wasn't quite that bad, but I did. I worked in the print shop, and I ended up as foreman of the print shop. But then that was a long story.
And what'd you study at OBU?
I was studying religion. I was studying Greek and all, the Old Testament and New Testament and so forth.
And how many years you go there?
2 or
Two.
3? Two. Yeah, I guess it went 2 years. And then well, it was rough. It was real rough. Boy, trying to make a living for both of us. And she worked in the print shop too. And that was rough to trying to make it come out. We got $5 a week. And now, $5 a week, you can go buy 3 things and that's it. But $5 a week is what we had. And that was in a certificate. So we'd go to these stores that we did printing for and get this, whatever they call it anyway. And we'd take this check down there and cash it.
We lived in the girls' dormitory.
Yeah, we were the only ones in there. That was just.
Well, the teachers.
Well, yeah, there were some teachers in there, but we were the only students in there.
Yeah. Why were
Married.
the only students in there? You were married at the time?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. See, we married in 33. Something like that. Yeah.
So how long did you attend OBU?
I went for at least 2 years, about 2.5 years, I guess. And then the
You went over there in 32.
32, yeah.
And we married in February of 33.
Yeah, that's right.
Was there any interaction between OBU and St. Gregory's at that time?
You answer that question.
No.
No, I think there was. It's a competition,
Yeah.
But see, St. Gregory's was not it wasn't a college like it is now. It was a more of a
High school.
high school, and it was more of it was closely, oriented with the Catholic Church, and that's all they were interested in was teaching them the Catholic Church. That's the impression I got at least.
Yeah. So we're in Hawaii.
Right.
On your off-duty time, what'd y'all do for recreation?
Well, we had a round the island tour service that we'd load up the car on Saturday with GIs and take them around the island for $5, and we'd guarantee them 12 pictures of various spots and so on. If they didn't get them, well, we'd give them to them. Well, I was a photographer, and I had old Greg Moix and I set up in his utility room in his quarters, and we printed up sets of pictures of the islands and everything. So I had island pictures and everything. So we did that. We went swimming. We went to Nanikuli, where the waves were about 40 feet high, and we just, I don't know what all we did. We just had fun. We went to a lot of luau's, I know that. We went, this Greg Moix married a Hawaiian girl, a Chinese Hawaiian girl, and through him, well, then we got in with all these Hawaiian people, and we went to a lot of luau's. We went to some real luau's, not the kind, that you go on the tourist trip.
What's the difference between
Oh,
the commercial luau and the real luau?
well, the pig, they really do the pig. They take the pig and bury him and cook him for a couple of days and all that, and then, I guess the main thing was everyone was drunk about half the time. They would just drank like a fish.
What were they drinking?
They were drinking kula. That's a native drink. It was just like moonshine. And that's all I ever saw anyway. I never saw any bottled in bonds and stuff. So.
Yeah. So besides the pig, what'd you have to eat at the luau?
Well, we had fish eyes. I remember the fish eyes, and they were good. We had eel, and they had all of the fish. Well, they had you know, of course the fish out there are just, you know, just millions and billions of fish out there. But all of the fish they had was all this exotic stuff, like squid, and just take a piece of squid and you'd eat this raw squid, and you didn't know any better, so you ate it, and it tasted
I
pretty
didn't.
good.
Okay, did the war in Europe start in '39?
Yeah.
What was your attitude of the war in Europe?
Well, it was a long ways off, remember, and I figured, well, I figured we'd go to get into it, not the way we did, but I figured we were going to get into it. But the people that we never sent anyone. We never sent a squadron or anything else to it, so it didn't really affect me. Now, I really thought we would be in against Japan more than anyone else did. Well, not anybody, but the majority of people, because we started flying missions out of Hawaii all down through the Pacific, mapping all those islands and everything. And I had 825 hours when it was all over with. That's what I flew during the war and so forth. But the war in Europe didn't.
What were your duties in the Air Corps at that time?
Well, well, the first thing I did when I got to Hawaii, I reported, and they looked at me and they said, "Oh, you went to Oklahoma Baptist University? We don't have a chaplain." So they made me the base chaplain. You know, in effect, I was a clerk, but I was the only chaplain they had. And they said, "Okay, wait. I enlisted to come here in photography." I said, "No." I said, you're going to be the chaplain until the chaplain gets here." So I filled in as chaplain for about a month.
What were your duties as chaplain?
Nothing, really. Everyone had to advise people, you know. How could I advise anybody? But I did anyway. I advised them.
Now, you were at the Wheeler?
Yeah, at Wheeler Field.
Okay.
It's right up in the middle of the island. It's there's a Schofield Barracks in Wheeler Field.
Okay.
And I was back out there 2 years ago, about 2 years ago, and I went out there, and they didn't have anything about Pearl Harbor. They just they had one little old book, you know, had nothing really, and the building, which was for the photo lab, 11th photo section, what I went into finally after this brief stint as a chaplain, and that was an armament outfit now, and I went in, and the guys were really interested because they had never talked to anyone who had been out there, and I went in, and so they all gathered around, and I showed them what we had done and so forth. So it was just a really good experience, but.
And so what were your duties as a photographer?
As a photographer. Okay, I was an aerial photographer, I was ground photographer, both, and we flew missions, as I say, down through the Pacific and mapped a bunch of the islands down there, and then we shot local pictures and so forth, developed them, printed them. We had a class and we taught photography. And that was the only photographic base out there when I went out there. That was the only photographic section out there at all. And we furnished photographers for the Army. Of course, we were in the Army, but you know, in Army Air Corps. And then for the Navy, and for Hickam Field was just being built. And we furnished pictures for them, construction pictures, and just whatever there was to take a picture of, I shot it.
You know, what type of airplanes were at Wheeler?
Well, we had B-10s, we had B-12s, we had B-18s, we had P-26s, we had A-12s, and we had 3 or 4 ducks, amphibians, and 3 or 4 ducks. They were all different, and they were bought, I'm sure, off of the civilian market and turned into military aircraft. And then we got P-36s, we got P-39s when the war started, and then before the war started we got P-40s, and we had two squadrons, 2 or 3 squadrons, I guess, of P-40s, and they were just lined up out there.
So, did you stay on base?
Did I stay on base? Yeah.
Did you live on base?
Lived on the base.
Okay, what kind of quarters did you get?
Nice, just nice.
Stucco houses
It was just a nice house, you know. I don't
and
know.
poinsettias growing to the roof.
Oh yeah.
Ben, what'd you do? No, your average day while he was in the Air Force.
Well, I only got there before Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
and I didn't have much time.
So, what'd you all do on Saturday, December 6th?
We were shopping.
Yeah, we
And,
bought we bought the living room suite and something else from Sears and Roebuck out there, which was fairly new, and we were going to have it delivered Monday, and we didn't get it. But then anyway, it's a long story there too. But
We went to a football
yeah,
game
we went to a football game
on Saturday.
Saturday, and
Was this all at Wheeler Field?
No,
No.
in Honolulu.
downtown.
Who was playing?
The University of Hawaii played, I don't know, I believe it was Washington.
I think so.
I think it was Washington. They'd come out, you know, and they'd have two games a year, and people would come out, you know, and just a big deal. Like, well, the same thing they're doing right now. Only now it's a big operation.
So, what did you do Saturday night?
Saturday night.
We went to a movie
Yeah,
and
hey,
dinner, and
yeah, we saw Clark Gable in some movie. I forget what it was. And we just had dinner. We ate at La Yi Chai's, and that was a big deal, you know. And we went home and went to bed.
about midnight, and we passed Pearl Harbor,
Yeah,
and all the boats were
it was
there.
all in there. Everything was all.
The Navy was all over town.
Oh yeah, they were thick, but you know they were all on leave and so forth. Yeah, it's. Then I remember one thing I told Francis. Yeah.
Move these pillows. I just now noticed this. May I move these?
Oh yeah.
Sure.
You be quiet, boy. You be quiet.
Okay. So,
You be quiet. You be quiet. And I told her that there was in the Sunday paper, Sunday morning. I was laying in bed reading the funnies, and there was a full page showing how far these PBYs could go out and so forth, and how that the Jap couldn't possibly touch that. And I told Francis about that. And in about 20 minutes later, here they came, you know, dropping hulls on the house and everything. What in the world is all this? And she said, I thought you said that the Japanese couldn't come in. You lied to me.
did you have any idea they were going to attack?
No, I had no idea. I thought it was the Navy coming in, you know. They did, everyone did it, you know.
We had been on alert for 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, I'd been on alert. In fact, I had about 5, 6 guys out on the perimeter of the airfield, you know, in machine gun nests and so forth. And they came in Saturday morning, and they came in and said, hey, we've been relieved. So the war's over. Can we go home? Can we have a plan? And I said, wait a minute. So I called the first sergeant and asked him. He said, yeah, that's right. Everyone's relieved. Everyone can. And I said, well, how much can I give him a 3-day pass? He said, sure, give him a 3-day pass. So I gave him a 3-day pass. All those guys that were out on this scene, and they took off and headed for town. And I think they all made it back. No, one guy didn't. One guy made it back, but he got killed the next morning.
So, the first thing that you said the Japanese came in. When were you first aware of the Japanese airplanes?
First aware of it, about 7:30, something like that. I could hear them, you know, diving on Wheeler Field. So they came across Coley Pass and came and got Wheeler Field first. That was the first thing that they hit during this.
Where's the?
Oh, okay, boy. Okay. Oh, where is it? Right here.
Yeah. Okay, now
Okay.
Wheeler's. Now you said they came over the pass.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. They came right through here. Here's here.
Okay.
It came.
Okay. Can we do it that way?
Yeah. Okay. They came. Oh, here. Here. They came right through here. Came right through here. And here's Wheeler Field. Here's Schofield Barracks. Here's Wheeler Field. There's Wahiawa, a little town right there. And they came in here and made two passes, about two passes. I think it was two passes. They made one pass. And when they came in, they came over and they were firing, and the metal links, from the from their machine guns were being ejected, and they didn't hit our quarters or anything. Those were just raining down out there like mad. I don't know what in the world. We thought it was the Navy coming in, because they always came in. They'd come in every so often and try us out, and just to practice. But it wasn't. It was the Japanese. Then I don't.
I asked you what that rising sun.
Yeah, she was the one that recognized him first, but she looked out. I was still in bed. I wasn't gonna get up. It was Sunday morning, So she asked me what that big red ball was on there, and I said,
Airplane was it?
Yeah. So then I got up and looked, and then I realized what it was. Then we just said, well, just go get them and see what we could do.
So when you first realized they were Japanese planes, what was your first reaction?
Well, my first reaction was, what in the? I figured there's about 4 or 5 of them. I figured, they just running in there and giving us a nuisance attack. I had no idea that there was hundreds of them, just loose, just air carriers full of them. And I thought there was just 3 or 4 or 5 of them, and I couldn't figure what they were doing shooting at us. I really couldn't figure that out. Well, we didn't do anything, So I bounced out of bed and got my clothes on and headed down to the photo lab. Well, that's all I knew, And I headed down there, and by that time, why the hangars were burning and the planes were burning, and I grabbed the camera and film and everything, and Morley Bishop who was there, and he grabbed a bunch of film, and we took off down the line and started taking pictures and stuff. And then here they came again. Well, this time they missed us, and so we
But you had Michigan.
yeah, they shot one of them right just right at hit my knee, hit my coveralls, just burned a hole in it. And that's as close as it got to me. And they we shot picture after and I got a bunch of them in here, and we shot pictures. And then they by that time, well then of course we were hearing these explosions, because they were through with Wheeler Field, because they had pretty well cleaned us out. We had about 5 or 6 planes left, I guess. And so they were going on down to Pearl Harbor, and they had you could hear explosions, and we heard one monstrous explosion, and I don't know what that was, but I think it was a ammunition boat or barge that they had down there. They got that.
Is that of the Arizona?
Yeah, either that. One of the two of them. I don't know which one it was, but one of them, it was really loud because it just shook everything up there.
It could be the Shaw.
I don't remember which one it was. It was there was one that was loaded with ammunition, and they hit it accidentally. I think more than on purpose, because they didn't know what was in it, and it blew up. Oh.
Well, actual photographs, I guess that was right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, how long did the attack last on Wheeler?
Well, the first wave, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
About 30 minutes, and then they left, and those planes either went back, and I don't remember whether they well then anyway, they were there for about 30 minutes beating, just seeing sure that everything was all cleaned up and everything. And in about 15 or 20 minutes after that, well then by that time I was right out in the middle of the field, out in the middle of the airfield, taking pictures of the whole thing. See, and I got out there, and that's when these planes came by and were going back to the carrier, and they were practically out of ammunition and everything else. And they came by and strafed us right out in them, because we were, man, just a couple of guys out there in the middle of the field.
So they strafed you.
Oh yeah, that's when he got right from just went right. But I was running and I was diving like that to get on the ground, to get flat on the ground, so it wouldn't be as good a target. And they just missed me. That's all. The Lord was with me.
So, what'd you do next?
What did I do next? Well, I kept taking pictures for a long time, and we just, you know, that was our job, and that's what we did. And then we
the barracks got hit.
yeah, oh yeah, the barracks, and they got how many were killed? There's what, 15 or 21? I don't know what it was, something like that. And most of those were killed in the first attack, though, because there was a new squadron, a new fighter squadron there on the base. Probably new. They were living in tents, anyways. That new, and they hit those tents, and that's where most of them were killed.
And how far were your quarters from the field?
Oh, about 100 yards.
100 yards?
From
The
over 100 yards.
runway.
It was about 100 yards from the parking ramp where they parked the planes.
Man, what were you doing while this is going on?
I was drinking coffee, and I went out under the eave and washed them. And I saw the barracks go up in flames, and people running without any clothes on except their underwear. And then Joe left, and I got in the car and went over to Waiwa, and saw they shot down one Jap plane, and they brought his body in, and he had a Ohio.
Ohio State ring.
Yeah.
So you went to the hospital?
I went to the clinic.
Well, I'd say it was a hospital. It was a base dispensary clinic type. It was pretty small, but.
And they had people in there with shells in them, and I picked it out. I never done anything like that before.
So how long did you work in the hospital, in the clinic?
All day, from about 10 till dark, and at dark they said we had to evacuate, and we had to go into town to be safe from the Japs. They thought they might come back.
Well, do you all think that they would invade?
Oh, I didn't know, to tell you the truth, but I figured that if they didn't come in when they attacked, that they wouldn't be there. You know, I didn't think they were coming because. But see, now the day before, on Saturday before, they pulled the cannon, they pulled all the artillery off the shoreline, you know, and everything, and just brought it all back into Schofield. And so no one thought that anything was going to happen. They just thought, well, that's all. It was just.
Why'd they bring everything back in?
Well, the war's over, you know. Well, just bring it
The
back.
alert was
The
over.
alert was over, you know. And they just figured, well, it was, they're not going to do anything. So, see, they didn't know that this battle fleet was out there, and all this fleet. They figured that they were over in, they were probably going to hit the Philippines, but the Philippines, well, they didn't. Well, that's another story. But anyway, they didn't even believe it. So they were in worse shape than we were, because they had what, about 10 hours notice, and they didn't. Nothing's going to happen. So
Everybody felt that we were so strong
yeah.
they wouldn't jump on us.
So you went to Honolulu in the city?
Yeah, and what was it school we went to?
Oh, I don't remember the name of the school. Well, they took them by bus into Honolulu, and then right up on the hill, right there in the best target in the whole country. They had this school sitting up there, and they bedded them down up there. Did y'all spend the night there?
Yeah,
You did. Spent the night
on
there.
the
Yeah.
floor with one blanket.
See, I didn't see her from the morning of the attack when I left. I didn't see her for about 2 days, but people told me she was okay and everything. So I was too busy. And I
Did
said,
you know he was okay?
Yeah,
oh yeah. People said, hey, yeah, I saw Joe. He's okay, and I saw Frances. She's okay. So, you know, we just went out doing our job, and so that's just the way it worked out.
and then I came back the next day to the chaplain's office.
So, how long? What did you do after the attack? They had left Wheeler. Where'd you go then?
After I left Wheeler,
No, that's the Japanese had left.
Oh, after they
What'd you
left?
do?
well, we just got busy and got to working. I don't know. I didn't have anything to do with cleaning the place up or anything, because I had the responsibility of the photo lab, and
Was it damaged?
no, it wasn't. Oh, it's still got bullet holes, you know, where they draped it. It still got them in there. And in fact, I saw them 2 years ago, where you see where they went in and straight the thing. But no, it wasn't damaged. But and I had a crew of photographers, and we were working, and just I don't know, we didn't. We figured that if they didn't come back that day, you know, they weren't coming back, and we just went ahead about our business.
So how long did you stay at Wheeler?
Oh, about what, 3 years, something like that. I
Yeah.
stayed until the war was over. No, I didn't either.
You
Oh yeah, they
came back.
they sent me back. Yeah, yeah. They said everybody with 3 years going back to the mainland, whether you want to or not. And I told them, look, I'm perfectly happy where I am, but they insisted, so I came back and came back on the Leonard E. Wood. That's what it was. Yeah, the Leonard. I knew it was an L in that thing. And came back on the same boat that I went out there on 3 or 4 years ago. And just, I really, we had a lot of alerts, you know, a lot of false alarms and everything. And I spent now the night of December the 7th, I spent out on a patrol. You know, we took my men and we patrolled an area, and I remember sleeping on a table about that square. It was raining, pouring down rain, and miserable weather. And I got up under these quarters, and these quarters had big eaves on them. And I got this table and got it up there, and laid curled up on that thing about like hot dog does here. And I remember, and of course I didn't sleep much, but then you'd get to sleep, and then someone would fire off some ack-ack, and so it was just a mess.
We had B-18s coming in.
B-18, B-17.
I heard some airplanes were shot down. Our old
Yeah.
airplanes were shot down.
They
And Schofield shot them down.
Yeah, well, they got them down. They got about 3 or 4 of them. And the afternoon of December the 7th, I went down and we got an A-12 airplane. It was an old observation plane, an attack ship really, and it had two places in it. We got in there and loaded the camera in that thing, and we got out and we got a clearance to come down and take a picture of Pearl Harbor and so forth. And so we took off and we circled around and we came in across there, and I'm telling you, they cut loose on us, and this pilot just dived that thing right down to the ground, and we hedge hopped right on back to Wheelerfield. He says, "No way am I going to go down there," because everybody was shooting. You know, everyone was scared, and then so
Your trigger happy.
Yeah.
oh, I got about 6 or 8 pictures of black shooting over there, and and then when I went out there and I tried to find out where that film was and everything, they said, "Boy, they said there was a whole bunch of stuff in this safe in here." When we finally they had cut the lock, they broken into the safe and found it, and so they hauled it all off to the dump. And all those broke my heart. But anyway, that's what they told me 2 years ago. So they said they had to get rid of it, so they did.
The Battle of Midway. Are you aware of it?
I was aware of it, but I wasn't in on it. No,
Okay.
that was yeah. I was aware of it because of the activity that we had. We had airplanes. We had B-17s. There's a whole bunch of them, and then they were all gone.
But you know, if the Japanese won that battle, they were going to come straight down.
Oh, sure,
Hawaii.
sure, they would have. Yeah. Well, that was a sort of a last ditch affair, see, because we knew that, and so they all the B-17s took off and headed for Midway, and Lord, they glommed that island up. It was just one solid B-17.
How badly damaged was the runway at Wheeler?
Well, it was damaged, but well, now there was no runway.
Oh, there wasn't.
No, there was no paved runway like you see in an airport today. It was just a grassy field, and the parking, the aprons in front of the hangars were paved, and that's why they pulled the planes up there. See, now they had revetments all around the base, had a place where to put the planes in there, and back them in this thing, get them all covered up and everything. But no sense in doing that.
Well, they were so glad to get off.
Yeah, well, that's right. They'd been out, and so forth, and everyone, the alerts over, and they just parked them all up there, and just wingtip to wingtip. All they do is just come down like that and get them.
So, ma'am, when did you return to the States?
Christmas Day, I left the island. I got on the boat Christmas Day. And I only had a green banana to eat all day.
So how was the boat trip back?
It was awful because women and children were on there, and a lot of those natives had married GIs and had kids, and they were scared to death to come over here.
But to come back to the mainland, see, because
They lived on the island all their life, and the kids were scared, and we had boat drills 2 or 3 times a day and night.
Ever see any Japanese ships, anything?
No, we saw all the American ships guarding us, and it took 5 days.
well, they went around.
And where'd you land?
San Francisco.
So where'd you spend the rest of the war?
in Oklahoma.
in Oklahoma City?
Yeah.
Did you do any work for the war effort in
No.
Oklahoma?
I worked for Douglas inspector.
She was the final inspector on the C-47, and they sent those things out for us to fly.
I was a good inspector.
And that was out here at
Yeah.
Tinker
At
Air Force.
3001.
How long did you work out there?
3 years.
What was the attitude of the women out there at Tinker?
Great.
And
We were doing our part for winning the war.
what percentage of the manpower out there was women at that time?
I think it was about 60.
60%. So you stayed at Wheeler for about 3 years.
I stayed at Wheeler for 3 years. I stayed long enough, I guess. Yes, because I stayed there. About 5 years. So I stayed there. See,
Well, you went back.
Well, oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I went back. See, when the war was over, and then they reassigned us and so forth. Well, we chose. We liked it out there.
Where were you in the war in BJ Day? Where were you?
It was in Midland, Texas, in the Bombardier School down there. I was a photo officer there at the Bombardier School.
Was there a celebration there?
Oh yeah, everyone just had a ball. You know, they thought that was wonderful. And then when which one was first, VE or VJ?
VE Day.
VE Day was first, right?
Yeah.
And then the VJ Day was second. Well, I couldn't remember which one it was. And it was just everyone just hooping and hollering and having a ball, and everyone was packing their stuff to go home. they were ready to leave, get out. You know, most everyone was.
So how long did you stay in the military?
20 years.
20 years.
Yeah.
So you retired from the Air Force?
Yeah, I retired from the Air Force. Yeah.
So you went back to Wheeler, and were you involved in Korea?
No.
No, not really.
No.
Not. No. Only.
We were in,
Where were we? We were taping, weren't we?
no, Mississippi.
Mississippi. That's where it was. Yeah. So no, we didn't get in on that at all, or Vietnam or any of that, because I never outside.
Well, you were out there.
Well, that
Yeah.
I was out with them.
So why did you retire in Oklahoma City?
Ask her.
It's home.
I was stationed at the time at Offutt up in Omaha, Nebraska, and headquarters for Strategic Air Command. And I knew I was getting out because you had to put in 6 months ahead of time. And when school was out, well, I told her, I said, y'all go to Oklahoma City and find a place, or wherever you want to go, or anywhere in the world you want to go, and then you find a house and move in, and then I'll come down. Well, this is what she picked, and so that was just it. And she got close to Tinker because she wanted to be close to the base. Because after a few years, that's normal. That's just the way it is. Then I got out, and came down, and then I worked for one or two outfits and didn't like them, and then I went to work at Tinker. And I worked out there for 6
If I
years.
ask the question,
Okay.
December 7th is, how would you answer that?
December the 7th is, well, it is a memory of a horrible time, because we didn't know what was happening. It was just the thing was that you were there, but I don't know, it's just a big, it's just a big mess, mainly because no one, and I swear there wasn't a soul out there that knew what in the hell was happening, or what they were doing, or what they were supposed to do about it.
Anything else you can think of about that day at Wheeler?
Well, I remember one thing, talking about her coming back on Christmas Day, you know, and so forth. She had, I had, before she came back, I had a foot locker, and I packed that foot locker full of pictures, photographs, and several thousand feet of 16mm movie film and so forth. And I packed that all, you know, and labeled it and everything, put it on the boat with her. When she got to San Francisco, well, they checked all the baggage and everything. And some gentleman decided that all of that was enemy propaganda, and they confiscated it. And I have seen results of it since, you know, pictures and footage and so forth. But there's nothing I could do about it. So that's what I remember about her trip back.
So what happened to that foot locker? What did
Well, they took it. They took it, but we never could. I tried to trace it down. Never heard of it. Never heard of it. No, they just whoever got it got those all those pictures, and they just took them home with them and marketed them later on. No, it was just
So you say you have photographs now?
oh, I have a few. Yeah.
That he kept.
Well, yeah, I have I had yeah, well, stuff that was shot then and all, but then I had a whole bunch of them, but I'm down to about probably 25 or 30 pictures shot during right after the raid, you know, and the planes burning and all that kind of stuff.
Are they handy?
Yeah, I got them in here.
Yeah. I'd like to see them if I could.
You want to see them right now?
Yeah, if I could.
Okay. Yeah, I got them.
That's all right.
There's a whole slew of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you, that's some that I sent out to Wheeler Field, to Hickam Field. They're gonna put out a yearbook, you know, a memory book of the attack on Pearl Harbor and so forth. And they wanted some pictures, so I sent those out to them. They copied them and sent them back. I don't know what all of that stuff is. That's just pictures of planes.
Yeah, barracks and all that there.
And that's about what it looked.
Mm-hmm.
That's the 19th Pursuit Barracks. Yeah, I know. Now here's our quarters. Here's our quarters. You see, the bomb hit that close to it.
Yeah.
But it didn't bother us.
Now, do you have copies of these photographs? Extra copies?
No, that's all I had.
Do you want a cup of coffee?
Yes, ma'am, please. If it's no trouble.
Anything in
No,
it?
no, ma'am.
Good.
Yeah, that's from this. I think
Yeah.
that's Honolulu at
Yeah,
the time. Now
yeah.
they've got these big
Oh, yeah.
high rises and so forth. There's Wahia Wa. This is the president where we
That's Waikiki.
Waikiki. And it's,
Well, it doesn't look like that now.
no. This guy kept on plowing all during the attack. He's busy eating it. This is a composite. We didn't have a video much. We did this. We shot this and right here. I just made it smaller. That is one of our photographic tricks.
So you lost all those other photographs.
Yeah, no, I lost a lot of them.
That's where I just read the book Day of Infamy and had a lot of photographs in there.
Yeah.
That's what I look like then.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what she looked like too.
Not bad.
She,
Oh,
she's,
thank you.
so
So how many times have you been back to Hawaii?
one time, I went back 2 years ago. My daughter and I, Prices wouldn't even go back. And my daughter and I
Too many people
went back to
out there
just to see him,
now.
and we saw we rented a car, and we just went everywhere. Just been visit and Harriet, she's a lawyer, lives over in Muskogee. She really enjoyed me enjoying it, you know. And we stayed a week, I guess, with him,
Yeah.
and went out on one of these tours, you know.
How has Wheeler changed?
Well, it had changed a lot. The barracks were all, the quarters were all sort of a little bit run down, I guess you might say. And it's got paved runways, and they don't use it too much for an air base anymore. It's still Wheeler Air Base, but it's more support for Hickam than anything else. And what surprised me was that there was a lot of evidence, you know, of bullet holes and stuff like that, and shrapnel holes in some of the buildings, and they had never even been patched. I guess they did it on purpose or something, but it was.
Maybe as a memorial or whatever.
I guess.
You go to Battleship Row?
Oh yes, yeah. We went down on a tour of Pearl Harbor and went out on the Arizona exhibit and everything. The weather was pretty bad when we did that, but it was quite a.
You can have that if you want it.
Okay. Yeah, that's all right.
I got that from that book.
Yeah.
Clean that thing out, yeah. Yeah, I spent about 30 days, I guess it was, on the Ranger, the aircraft carrier, teaching the Navy photography. They didn't know anything about photography. Well, they'd never had any purpose for it, and so they picked me to go down there, and I went out on that thing, and we went out to sea on it. Man, that was I wouldn't I wasn't no part of that Navy. 30 days is all I wanted of that.
Yeah. You ever been over to the Historical Society?
Here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a long
Years ago.
years ago. It's been a long
You know,
time.
we have the Silver Service off the Oklahoma.
Yeah.
That's on display there.
I've
Yeah.
seen it at the governor's mansion.
We finally got the punch bowl back. So we had the complete Silver Service, which is I think 50-some pieces.
Yeah.
That was on the Oklahoma. So we have it on display there. And but right now we're concentrating on Pearl Harbor and the Oklahoma.
Right.
That's what we're getting some good information because you're the first one we've interviewed from Wheeler. But we have Hickam Field, Conaway, Naval Station.
Oh, Kaneohe.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Okay. Yeah.
But we have people now from all different areas at Pearl Harbor on the island.
Jones was,
At Bellisfield. Wasn't he at Bellis?
I thought he was at Schofield.
Do
Maybe.
you know
Maybe he was.
Mr. Jones lived down here in Mitchell?
Yeah.
I'm interviewing him this afternoon.
Oh, you are? Yeah. Well, he's a friend of ours.
Yeah. And he's the one he was at Schofield Barracks. So
Yeah.
he's the one
Yeah.
that talked to me about
Yeah.
Schofield.
I knew you somewhere.
Well, anything else you can think of that?
No, I really, you know, that's been a lot of years, and it's kind of hard to remember all the details. Like that night, I remember we had a big fat. I think he was a corporal. I don't remember his name or anything else, but he was out on guard duty, and he was down there, and he heard these Japanese talking, and he just cut loose and he killed 3 pigs. And they were grunting, you know, and he thought they were Japanese talking, and he you know, things like that I remember, you know, and I digging them out. I remember we got up on there was a Schofield Barracks was up here, and then Wheeler had been cut out, really. It just been leveled off down here. And we got up, and I had a big hole up there where I'd get in, and we went up there and dug that thing so that in case of an attack, I could get pictures of it and so forth. Never did come back, so I didn't get any pictures, but
What was the attitude toward the Japanese that lived in Hawaii after the attack?
well, you know, that was a funny thing. They was back in the States. They were putting them in camps and concentration camps. Out there wasn't that much. There was
had
some.
known them a long time.
Everyone, you know, it
Yeah.
just really there wasn't a.
And that wasn't many people.
Yeah,
out
there
there.
wasn't. There wasn't.
I didn't even have an ID card.
No, she didn't have.
Everybody knew me.
Yeah. Now, I've got my original dog tags. They're about that big around. They're just two big dog tags. They're up in the attic, I think. And
So at that time, Hawaii was, I guess, was a slower,
Yeah.
oh yeah,
slower life
it
pace.
was. It was really slow paced and everything, and everyone just just take it easy. The military had a tremendous impact on that thing because they were just there's so many of them. Well, I don't know how many there were. In fact, I don't remember how many there was at Wheeler Field, but there wasn't many. Because
You wasn't afraid to go anywhere.
oh no, it was just there wasn't, but as I said, what really got me was the fact that they didn't nothing was said about the Japanese or anything. Well, they people talk, yeah, but it was kind of a completely different attitude they had back here. Because, as Francis said, everyone
They were
knew them.
neighbors.
They were all neighbors. And they lived here or there, and there was no ethnic background to any of them, because they were mixed up. You'd find a kid who was he was about a fourth Japanese and a fourth Filipino and the fourth Chinese and the fourth Haole, and that's just about the way it was. So everyone was so mixed up.
Well, I think we have a good interview.
Well, good. I hope we've done you some good.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right.
Shut that